Call not too long ago by a friend of mine, Peggy Kalis. And she called me up and she started talking about symptoms and problems she was having that I knew right away was traumatic brain injury symptoms. But Peggy, even though you'll hear her history, even though she's highly knowledgeable in the medical and chiropractic realm, did not put two and two together for a long time, and in fact had a lot of difficulty actually diagnosing what was on and figured it was just something wrong with her. So when I heard her story, I thought, you know what? The world needs to hear Peggy's story because I hear it all the time where people get misdiagnosed and get treated to the point of not knowing what to do and so big frustration in their lives. So I'd like Peggy to introduce herself, give an idea of what happened that was related to these symptoms she's been having, and then the symptoms. And we'll keep this to a 10-minute or less video so that you can see if this relates to you or someone in your life. And if it does, please share this information with them because this information is not readily available, even though a physician may be in his field for a long time. This is an overlooked diagnosis of a traumatic brain injury. No matter who you're treating with, they need to know that they're not alone. So thank you, Peggy, for coming in. I really appreciate it. She came into my office today to be able to share this information. The second video we're going to talk about the treatment that she tried herself that seemed to work, but really probably not the best thing to do, and on the treatment from the physicians and the holistic practitioners she met along the way and the results of that. And then the third video, we're actually going to go into ways in which Peggy has found that there's been treatments, and I found that there's been treatments for people with traumatic brain injury that might have worked so that you can actually use this in your own life just to see if it helps you. So Peggy, thank you so much for coming in. Peggy and I have been friends for a long time.
Yes, a very long time.
Mastermind partners, actually.
Yeah.
And so I'm really thrilled to have Peggy here with you. So Peggy, why don't you give a little bit of a history? I know you're a wonderful human being, but I'd like individuals to really know how great you are, and then go into what occurred and then the symptoms that you're having.
All right. Let me see. I decided to retire from a corporate career when I was 55. I'm 62 right now. Retired from that corporate career because I get a little antsy with things, and I decided to go back to chiropractic school, take on that profession because I really like the natural way of doing things. So I went to chiropractic school. I lived in Marietta, Georgia for 5 years. Graduated in June of 2013. Busy week, family coming in, lots of things to do, and needed to get some reservations for everyone. And as I'm driving my car around making these reservations, I made a turn, a left-hand turn, and actually hit a car that was coming head-on, probably 40 or 50 miles an hour. Spun my car around, experienced some shock and some symptoms from that. But I had lots to do, lots of things going on. So I just got up, called a friend to come get me, and proceeded. The following day, just before graduation, I decided that maybe I should go in and get some x-rays. So I went into the chiropractic clinic at school, had a doc look at my x-rays and said everything looked fine.
But what were you experiencing? Why did you want those x-rays done?
Well, at that point in time, I was experiencing, I think what most people experience after a car accident with a head injury is like tightness in your neck, lost range of motion, unable to turn my head from side to side, and it was just this, you know, your body tightens up to protect you, really, to protect you so you're not moving a lot. It wasn't until maybe a week or so after that I had like bruising from the seat belt and bruising in the crease area of my legs as well that I knew that the accident had some ramification. But there was so much going on in my life, I just kept going on.
And you also had an airbag that actually exploded in her face, and we found that sometimes airbags can cause mild concussions also.
Yep.
So go ahead, Peggy.
I came home from Michigan with my kids. They were down there for the graduation, and we came back, and I had to get my practice started. So I just start doing what one does, getting my website together and doing some marketing. wanted to help the kids with taking care of my grandson and helping my daughter as well. So a lot of things on my plate. And maybe 3 or 4 weeks after I was home, I started feeling like some anxiety and overwhelmed with things. To me, this seemed natural when you're trying to put together a lot of things. So I'm attributing things to stress. I began to notice it affecting my sleep. I've never had issues with sleep in my entire life. And I would go to bed and I'd wake up like at 1 o'clock and just lay there, unable to get myself back to sleep. Sleep became a huge issue. As I'm setting up the practice and continue going on, I kept getting this feeling that it was like negative thoughts. You're not doing this right. What do you think you're doing? Doing this all alone. This just isn't going to work. And continuing to lose sleep, looking for over-the-counter things at that point in time to help me because I didn't know what else to do. This is just all stress. You've got a lot of things going on. I decided in November that I couldn't do this. Maybe I'd made the wrong decision. I'm going to close my practice.
And just so from a nurse's point of view, the less sleep you get, the more out of control any injury that you have can spin. And primarily depression and anxiety gets worse and worse and worse the less you sleep. So sleep is real important in the recovery process. You don't get it, you start spiraling downhill.
That's so true, Deborah. I'm glad you pointed that out. It's very true. Sleep is when the body heals itself. Without sleep, it's unable to heal. And I was exposed more to dark thoughts or negative thinking that continued to go on and on. When I wake up, it would start almost immediately. So I closed my practice in November, and then in the month of December, here I am with nothing to do. Virtually nothing to do. I lost my car. I didn't recover that, didn't replace that, so I didn't even have a way to get out. I started noticing these things about myself, that it was getting harder and harder for me to do daily chores around the house.
You mentioned something about pacing too. Tell me about that.
I would find myself just walking. I had like a route, just kind of walk around the house all day long. So I would attribute that to like a pacing kind of thing and an anxious sort of thing going on. I would find myself just cry for no reason at all. I felt like I didn't even know how to cook anymore. I wasn't sure how to turn the stove on or how to cook things. I noticed like a deterioration even in the way that I did the laundry. I couldn't fold clothes anymore. I wasn't sure if I was turning the washer on right. And the day that it really hit me was when I went out in the car to pick up something for the kids. And when I was coming home, I had this moment of, I don't know where I am. And it scared me so much. I don't think I can find my way home. And then I had this thought about what is happening to me.
We only have a few more minutes in there's a few more seconds actually in this video. Tell me what the accumulation of this was with you. Where did you finally hit bottom? Tell a little bit about that, because I think some people actually may feel all by themselves going through some of the same things you've been through.
Yeah. December of that year is when I felt like I hit a real low point. I could feel like snapping things going on in my head at night. I felt like I couldn't see correctly anymore. It was difficult to get out of bed. I tried to do just a few little exercises, simple things like raising my arms. I could not do anything. I was to the point where about all I could do was just sit on a stairway during the day and just stare outside. And that was the end of 2013. And I don't know if 2014 is going to be another story.
Yeah, no, this is really good, because I think there's a lot of people that actually got to the point of being suicidal. Is that right?
That was what happened to me in 2014.
I couldn't stand the sleeplessness. It got to the point where I was unable to sleep at all without taking some kind of supplement or something over the counter, or
I mean, I tried so many different things, over-the-counter things, Tylenol, Dimetapp, Motrin, valerian root, kava, everything that's on the shelf that you see when you go to a health food store that says this helps with sleep. I tried them all, even to the point of trying alcohol. I started drinking wine and having mixed drinks because it would help me get some sleep at night. I was to the point where I got 2 or 3 hours of sleep at night.
Did you end up being hospitalized out of this?
I did end up being hospitalized, yes. Yep. And those thoughts of like ending my life. I remember Brittany Maynard. She was big then and she ended her life because of a brain tumor. And I just felt like, why can't I do that? And actually tried to move forward on some things as well. And just realized I can't do this. I can't even do this.
I really would love to synopsize this too, because what you see, what you hear here is the signs and symptoms that Peggy had due to a jostling of the brain inside of the cranium related to an auto accident. But it happened so far away from the auto accident.
Yes.
Trying to, if this happened the next day, maybe that it would all make sense.
Right.
But it gradually deteriorated due to sleep and all kinds of
Yes.
things that were going on. So I wanted to share this. Please share this also with people that you think might be going through these symptoms. The next video we're going to do, we're actually going to talk about the treatment. That'll be in our next post. But please share this information so what happened to Peggy can really be of use to individuals so they can go into their physicians and say, you know, I think I might have a traumatic brain injury. That's the verbiage that we use. But basically what it is, it's a brain that's been jostled to the point that it can no longer regulate all the physiological jobs it has to do. It can't do that efficiently. And it does it differently with every person.
Yes.
You may not have the same symptoms that Peggy had. So thank you so much, Peggy. I appreciate
you.
that. Thank you. Please pass this on. In the bottom of my post, you're going to see the typical signs and symptoms. You do not have to have them all, but if you think you have an injury, please let your practitioners, whoever you're working with, or find somebody who understands head injury. We'll talk about treatment and the thing you went through, the rest of your story,
Yes.
in the next video. So thank you so much.